And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast. Along with my partner Brian Siegler, I am Curtis Wilson, and this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located at 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. We are also brought to you by Moments on the Maury. Looking for a weekend getaway, but still going to try to make it to one of those November games in Blacksburg? Well, the Moments on the Moor is exactly what you're looking for. Owned by a very proud Hokie and located just outside Lexington, so a little over an hour drive from Blacksburg. Go fishing, kayaking, relax by the river with a nice fire, and just hang out. Check out the links in our comment sections. With the Moments on the Maury, or visit their Instagram page at Moments on the Maury. What's up, Siegler?
Man, Andretti is on a heater already, right out the gate.
We hadn't even gotten fired up, just right through the music, running through the like a fullback going through a goal line right there. Just boom. We are going to get to that tonight.
We got the funds to get saving right out the gate, man.
We got the funds to get saving. Oh, man.
Hey, you know what? Until we see different, keep that energy.
Keep that energy. I told y'all, give us a couple weeks. Let some things unfold. You just saw how much money. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're coming off a win. We're not going to go 0-12 this year. 1-11 is still there, but we're not going 0-12, which would have been the worst record since in the last 75 years. I think
hey, we still gotta we're coasting along, but we're keeping the scoring streak alive so far as well. So
tonight, what do we got? We are going to tell the truth. A couple things from the Wofford game, observations, ideas, thoughts we saw from that. We are going to talk about the BOV stuff that came out earlier this week, a few other things as well. But to kick it off tonight, we have got us a guest, and we are going to get to know a little bit more about the enemy in the NC State Wolfpack. 7:00 Saturday night on the CW, which I'm going to be interested to see the ratings this game pulls, because I have seen NC State and Virginia Tech both pull 700,000+ against really shitty opponents. Where's Tally? Tally's taking care of some business. He might slip in, he might not. Literally taking care of business. And Sheldon's taking care of some business too. So it's the OGs here. But like I said, we're going to get to know the enemy tonight. We are bringing Evan on from the Red and White podcast to give us a little background. Evan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. So, Evan, we know that you host the Red and White podcast with your buddy Will. Give us a little background, how it came to be with the podcast, and then just a little bit about yourselves.
Oh, man. So back in 2008, maybe before that, 2009. Yeah, we were tailgating for the spring game with my buddy Dustin at the time. We're like, man, there's nothing good to listen to. And sports radio at the time in the area, and it still kind of does, very antagonistic towards NC State in particular, and didn't like it, right? And we're like, let's start a podcast. And we started at my house in the room together, and that was, a long time ago. And we've been doing it ever since. Dustin went on to do better things. I did it by myself for a little while. Found Will, and he's been with me for the last 5-6 years now, probably. We're getting close to overall 1 million downloads over all this time. So pretty happy with where we've been. Built a nice little community, and it's my therapy for being an NC State fan, man. I just get people ask why you do it. It's like, I don't know. I enjoyed doing it, enjoyed talking about it, and it just makes me feel good.
Well, first
they are the too deep of
they're the too deep of NC State. And you know what? I hear the 1 million downloads. I hear that. It's like there's a goal for the future right there. Now, Evan, you mentioned being the NC State fan, and the antagonistic views down there in the triangle for NC State. But how did you yourself become it? Did you go to state, or was it just born, raised? This is what it's always been.
Man, when I moved to North Carolina, I was about 8, 9 maybe, and my brother ended up going to college at NC State. He was freshman year, or whatever. My family moved down, and it was about that time everybody's like, well, we got to pick one. It was State, Carolina, or Duke. And I was like, well, my brother's going there, right? And My sister ended up going to Carolina, but a few years after. But yeah, we have always pretty much been a state household from that moment on, and yeah, it's just been in my blood at this point.
Man,
Nice,
I love
man.
hearing that. I love hearing that. We're guys that have been fans since going back to '95, since we really started following the sport. We've been Virginia Tech fans, and both of us spent a lot of time in Blacksburg. Love the place, love the area. So it's nice hearing not only roots from a alumni standpoint, but also just roots to the area and just a love of place. I think is important as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I've eventually moved to I was less than a mile from Carter Finley at one point.
Oh.
So we used to be able to walk to the games, right? And then when I had kids and whatnot, we moved a little farther away. But yeah, it was an addiction. It was real. Being close to stadium was good. And yeah, so I've been there. Understand that.
Okay, I've got to ask, what years did you live that close to the stadium?
2008 to 2014, I believe, is when I moved.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. 2014, 2016, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so there were a couple, 2010, 2011,
God,
couple pretty good years.
Don't bring up the 2010 game. Don't bring up the 2010 game. I still have nightmares of what was
J-Ron Hostley and David Wilson.
David Wilson coming out of high school, coming out of halftime. State's leading 17-7 at halftime. And like, yeah, we're feeling good. Pretty much owned that game early on. Mm-hmm. Opening kick, David Wilson takes it 90-plus yards to the house for a touchdown. And it just like, how did he just completely lost control of that game, ended up losing 41-30 or something like that. Like, I still burned my brain. I just still see him running that kickoff return back. It's just, oh god, nightmares.
It's okay. One of our best friends has the same memories. He coached against him in high school. He had to deal with it for multiple years of David Wilson running down the sideline. So he knows your pain. So
it's just that was one of those years that State ended up going 9-4 that year. Just another example of just being so close to it and then just letting it slip away. And that was that particular game where Virginia Tech wasn't as good and you just had control of it and you just blew it. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, don't ever feel bad about 2010 because 2010 we reeled off 11 straight wins after the opening 2 losses. Y'all were the first win that year. Y'all basically got
you're welcome.
Game. Yeah. Thanks. 15 years ago. But let's get into what you know about, and which is the NC State Wolfpack. And let's talk about your team and kind of your feelings. And I want to start on the offensive side of the ball because as I was doing my research, everybody knows Hollywood Smothers. And we want you to talk about
so good.
But y'all right now are one of the most explosive teams in college football. 10 to 20-yard plays, y'all are 12th in the nation. Y'all are top 30 in both 20 to 30-yard plays and 30 to 40-yard plays. Y'all are an explosive team. And I am assuming Hollywood is a lot to do with that.
Hollywood is, and I put this out to our people, and in my opinion, he's the best back we've had since T.A. McClendon. That was a long time ago. He is a difference maker. He's everything to this team. He just makes everybody else look better. And he's got talent around him, but he is it, man. He is so good at just making things happen. He doesn't quit, and he's a little dude, and he will try to run you over. He will try to run around you. He will do anything he can to help his team win. I forgot one of the quotes recently. It was after maybe the UVA game, and they said somebody said something to him. It's like, man, I don't know. We won. That's what I'm worried about. And I'm like, yeah, like it was a very candid answer, and he genuinely didn't care about how many yards he had. And you're like, that's refreshing. We've had some egos in the past, and man, I'm a huge Hollywood Smothers fan, and he is the core to, Dave Doran has always wanted to have a run first team, and he's never really had a good run game, which is whatever. But he's finally got Hollywood Smothers that you can bank on to just make everybody else look good. Offensive line looks better because Hollywood Smothers is running. I mean, he is the real deal. He's so good, and I love watching him play.
Yeah, man. Having looking like last year having Bashal tuned in the backfield, like there was a difference of having that type of playmaker in the backfield. It looks like you've got that with Smothers, fifth in yards in the country, 6.29 per carry. I mean, just putting up some borderline video game numbers at this point. And it's impressive, and it's definitely something that's got me concerned as a Hokie fan. It's like, how are you gonna you got to contain this? You're not gonna stop him, but you got to be able to not let him ring off those big plays or turn those 5 to 7 yarders into those 20 and 30 yarders that we've seen. That's got y'all put in a pretty good spot as far as those big plays in the country. And let's talk about that too, and we can build off that. Looking at C.J. Bailey, how does what he does within this offense also complement the skill set that Smothers brings to the table?
Yeah, I totally ignored Curtis's question. I apologize for that. So Hollywood has got a group around him of other skill players that really, the combination is really what makes it work, right? I mean, he's that good. C.J. Bailey looks better because he's got Hollywood Smothers there. He can, lean on Smothers more than we've had in the past. And CJ Bailey, man, I was critical of him last year, and not in a negative way. He was a freshman quarterback. He was 18 years old. In high school, he's thrown to Jeremiah Smith and the other guy I forgot. And you're just like, he didn't have to do much, right? He didn't have to learn. He's like, okay, Jeremiah, you go that way, and I'm gonna throw it that way. And he can chuck it a long way. Like it was not a hard game for him. So you could see that in his freshman year. Like he was nervous in the pocket. He wasn't looking downfield. And this year he has made a humongous leap, and he has been so much better with his pocket presence. He's keeping his eyes downfield, extending plays, right? Not just bailing out and running. I think his development this year has been better than I think anybody could have expected. Like I know he's talented, but to see him mature as a quarterback is really what's making this team, come together. He's phenomenal. He's got the pieces around him, but really he has developed a lot this year. And I know Kurt Roper is one of the reasons he stayed this year.
Yeah.
And you can see those two, what has come from it. And he keeps getting better every week. He didn't have a great week last week, but nobody did, and it wasn't his fault completely. I mean, but every game this year, he has gotten just a little bit better. I wish they would change some things on how they're using him, but that's just a armchair quarterback for you. But he's phenomenal. He's such a good player, and he's still young, right? He's only really his second year. He's still a year and a quarter into college football, right? So he's still young and he's still getting better. But his development this year is just what is keeping this team as aggressive as it has been.
Yeah, and his statistics this year, he's on track for over 3,000 yards. He's well above 70%. I think it's 72 or right at 72. More touchdowns than he had last year, and that's with Smothers primarily carrying the ball, which is always the thing. When you have that dominant of a running back, if your quarterback is trending in the right direction for additional passing touchdowns, it always helps out. Let me flip back real quick to Smothers, because it's one of those stories, right? West Charlotte kid, North Carolina grown. Y'all go after him as hard as you can, and a blue blood comes in and takes him. What was the story of him coming back? Was it I went to Oklahoma, it wasn't right? Because we're hearing this more and more what I would call 15 to 40 schools. Good schools, good programs. In-state kid leaves because always greener pastures at the Blue Bloods, and then they come back. So what was his story with that?
Yeah, exact same thing. He did give us a chance out of high school. I mean, we were close, and just like my NCAA 26 dynasty, man, I got to recruit a guy, and I'm right at the end, and then Georgia comes in at the end and offers him like, damn. Like I was recruiting him all season, right? It's the same thing happened here. He ended up going to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got a ton of talent, right? And there was a coaching change at Oklahoma, and they had that transition period there. But NC State makes a lot of makes their living on those kind of kids that leave and come back, right? I mean, it's just we have the good relationships, and one of our coaches said at some point, like, "Yeah, we'll get him on the flip side, right? We'll get him when he wants to come back home." Noah Rogers went from Wake County, went to Ohio State. came back to Raleigh, right? I mean, he's 5-star kid out of high school, and Hollywood's no different, right? It's easy for those kids to come home. It's kind of a safe choice. It's, what are your options here? You're going to go to Wake Forest? No, I'm not going to run slow mesh. You're going to go to Carolina? No, they don't care about football. You come back, you come here, right? It's come somewhere where we can play. And I think you'll see a lot of kids do that. And it's not a surprise that he ended up here. And he's a perfect cultural fit. He's just a perfect fit here. But he comes back here. He's close to home. He said, my parents come to the games now, and it feels better for me. And he's a Raleigh kid. He's here. He's gonna be here.
As much as
I like the fun disrespect that you showed to Wake Forest.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. All right, now I want to talk about another guy. Now, thanks for that story. It's one we've seen so much. We've seen it here at Tech for the last few years. But let's talk about a highly recruited in-state guy that you brought, and he's producing on the field this year in Terrell Anderson. That guy was a top 100 player, top 20 wideout. It seems everyone was on him. Everybody thought he was going to Georgia. Joker Phillips, if you don't know the name Joker Phillips, you ain't been around college football long enough, because that man can recruit his ass off. But this year, really stepping out, averaging, I think, close to 20 yards a catch, over borderline at 300 yards through the first 4 games. What have you seen him do? Because he played a lot last year, didn't have the stats. What has he done for you impressive this year?
Last year it was weird. I think the most critical point was how they used the wide receivers last year and the rotations. You couldn't get anybody into a flow. So I don't hold any of that against him. And he was a freshman, right? But when I did see him on the field the first time, I was like, who is that? And why is a tight end, line up in the X? And you're like, that's not a tight end. That's Terrell Anderson. You're like, oh my God, that guy's enormous. Like, he is bigger than you think he would for being a wide receiver. He's thick, and he has come out. He's come on this year, right? I think NC State has done a better job of being more consistent with their rotations, especially at the skill positions. And guys like Keaton Jackson and Terrell Anderson are getting the benefit of that. I really like Terrell Anderson. He's been I don't even want to call him a possession guy, but he's just been reliable, like you would consider a possession guy. But State is spreading it around. Like we had 10 guys get 4 catches. Was it last week or the week before? And I'm like, it's just, when has that happened, right? It's just, they're being productive, and they're being productive because they can spread around to anybody, right? One day it might be Wesley Grimes, or one day it might be Keaton Jackson. It's the best wide receiver group we've had in a long time. I can't even remember the last time we had a group that you could literally rely on any one of these dudes at any game, and Terrell Anderson's no different. I really like him. And when people see him, just his sheer size, it's just bigger than you would expect, especially coming out of high school. It's like, man, I thought he was going to be a skinny, tall wide receiver, but he's a thick boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a build. We've already seen a bigger wide receiver. We had Nick Harbor earlier in the year with South Carolina. Obviously, I don't think Anderson's quite that big, but certainly just as thick.
Yeah.
Has that like almost running back type build, like a tall running back, can kind of run through you, run by you. I'm a little concerned just because we didn't match up that great in that game. I mean, really the only person that beat us in that game was Nick Harbor.
One time.
He beat us one time, but he beat us a couple times over on the digs as well. So he was getting separation. Obviously, we were fighting a couple different battles on our end at this point between coaching changes and potential opt-outs and things coming down the pike. So we'll see what this game looks like this week and any additional roster churn that we may see as the season goes along. Let's flip it over to the offensive line a little bit. You said earlier that a guy like Smothers is making them better. Where have you seen the most improvement in that unit this year?
I mean, improvement-wise, I'd say run blocking. But again, I don't know how much of that is Hollywood Smothers. I'm not well-versed enough to be picking apart PFF grades for offensive linemen. I can tell if a guy whiffs on his block or is kind of out of position, or, like we let a damn field goal get blocked from 10 yards because they weren't doing their job. Like, those things are obvious. Yeah. But run blocking as a whole has been better. But I think a lot of that is Smothers. He's just a better running back than we've had. Pass blocking, they've been pretty good over the last few years. But we've just struggled to run the ball and, basically control the line of scrimmage. But I think they've improved a little bit this year. They're still trying to find their rotation. There was 9 different offensive line lineups last game, and I think it was the same for Wake Forest. They just haven't figured out a couple spots, like right guard. We had a guy starting, and then he didn't play much, and then just kind of moving guys around. So, that's still our biggest area of concern. I think they'll figure it out, but they've been better than they have in the recent years, and particularly run blocking. Right, pass blocking has been pretty consistent for them over the last 3-4 years, but run blocking has just always been sus. I really attribute a lot of that to Smothers, though. He just makes everybody look better.
All right, I want to bring up one other guy that kind of goes with the line because we jumped into PFF this week and looking at some of your highly graded players, and Terrell was there, Bailey was there, Smothers was there, backup quarterback was there, but there was this guy at the top of the list. And at first I overlooked and said tight end, and I just kind of said probably has like 8 snaps. Went back and looked a little bit closer, close to 100 snaps, has 1 catch, and he's ranked borderline at a 90 PFF. And when you think PFF grades, if you're not catching a lot of passes and you're grading almost a 90, that means you are run blocking your ass off, and that's Cody Hardy. What has he meant? Because 25 snaps a game averaging on the field, and when you grade that high, he's got to be popping off on tape with some of his blocks.
Yeah, he has. He did, especially in that Duke game. I wouldn't say he is I don't know. He's found his role, I guess, so to speak. He hasn't been somebody they've utilized a lot because he's behind Justin Jolie, who is just phenomenal tight end. But Hardy is the more physical version, and they've been using him sort of wing back, tight end, kind of moving him around, doing different things for him. He's a transfer. He came in from Elon. They've talked about him all summer. They really liked him. I don't think we've seen his usage on what they would like yet. But again, they're spreading the ball around so much that I don't know if you'll key on one guy on every game. It's just going to be somebody different. It's what we've had every game this year. Somebody from the skill position spot. It's just been a different person every year. Every game. Wesley Grimes, Terrell Anderson, Keenan Jackson had a real good game last game. So it's kind of all over the place. I like Cody Hardy from his physical nature, but they haven't utilized him in the way that I think they will in the future, where he's a little bit more flexible than just a blocker.
Yeah. Good deal.
Well, we're gonna flip it over to the defense, and when we do, we'll put this comment up there, and we'll let you kind of lead off with answering this, and then we'll kind of go from there.
The defense is a sieve. Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, somebody in my pod chat community said it, and it's still the quote of the year for me. It's just the DJ Elliott hire, which is our new defensive coordinator. Everybody kind of sussed, like, where'd this guy come from? Is going to look brilliant, and I'm going to be happy with it because it's making Dave Dorn want to score more points. Right, that's always been the biggest thing, is lack of aggression on offense. But you've got to score now because you have no idea what you're going to get from the defense. Now, we have played 3 of the top 35 most explosive passing offenses this year: ECU, Virginia, and Duke. And we don't see anybody else in the top 70 for a while until Notre Dame. So. I try. Yeah.
Definitely not us.
I try to factor that in, when evaluating the defense, because we've had 2 games in the ECU game and the Wake game where they have just absolutely bottled up the opposing team. Right, just did absolutely nothing. Wake, everybody's worried about Claiborne, and they had 29 yards in the second half. Like, that's just absurd.
Yeah,
and. I don't know. Nobody trusts our defense to do anything, but they've been pretty good on first and second down. We can't get off the field on third down. Like, is that?
Yeah, 124 in the country. Yeah, that's painful.
Right. I mean, is that going to be consistent all year. I got a feeling they got to get better with that, but it is annoying. I don't really know. Like, the defense is bad. Like, there's some pieces, but I don't know what they're doing. Right? It's just self-inflicted wounds and just dumb. And again, if it makes our offense have to actually be interesting and score more points, then okay, I'll deal with it. Right? It's just college football these days. Score more points and your defense is going to give everything up. Like, yeah, I don't know. The defense is terrible. We've got some players. We've got some, Kean Sloan and Sebastian Harsh, two guys that transferred in, super solid, have been really productive. Sloan was out last game. Harsh was out for the first half of the last game. The secondary, we're just not there. Like, they hadn't come together. Safeties leave a lot to desire. Corners have been hit or miss. Right, they've either boom or bust, man. They're either playing really good or just blowing every coverage, and you just don't know what to expect. And then, what we've usually banked on is our linebacker play. And I'll be honest, Caden Fordham, I thought he's been pretty bad most of this year. I mean, he's had his moments, and people who are, I don't know, people will look at the numbers and look, he's got total tackles, but it doesn't tell the whole story. You look at his PFF grades and put a little bit more of the picture together, and he's, averaging like a 50 in PFF. And like, that's your captain. That's your starting linebacker. Your starting middle linebacker. Like, you got to be better there. But I don't know if it's the injury or what it is, but maybe the defensive scheme change. But he's slow to react and just doesn't seem like he's the guy there. Like, he's better when he's trying to be him and not Peyton Wilson making every play. Yeah. But, Sean Brown is basically anchoring that linebacker crew, and now we lost A.J. Richardson, who they haven't said he's out for the year, but he's out for the year. And he came in. He was an ultra-productive kid from Norfolk State, and I liked him early on. He was one of my breakout players, and he got hurt, and that really hurts your production at the linebacker spot. And I don't think they have a lot of guys they really like there, so it is a concern, and the defense as a whole has just not been good. They've got to score more points is what it's going to come down to. Otherwise, it's going to be a long year.
It's really funny, Brian. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Literally, we had everything mapped to who to talk about with defense. Clearly, this is a pain point for you because you hit every single thing we were going to talk about. We were going to talk about the safety play. We were going to talk about your edge guys.
Yeah.
And this, I love it because I'm sitting here. We're talking. Nope, he just talked about that. He talked about that.
Oh, I mean, I can keep going.
Hey, you know what? And you hit the points. And when I was watching some of the tape and kind of going through things, I was like, okay, well, you got a pretty good, decent looking front. Especially the defensive line in particular, and then a lot of inconsistent play at the linebacker position, and then very boom or bust in the secondary. And you really hit on all of those points as I was going through that. I was like, okay, all right, check, got it. All right. And that can explain the whole third down troubles, because if you've got inconsistent play at the second and third level of your defense, you're going to struggle to get off the field on third down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just been it. Like, what are the plays in the Duke game? And it was kind of towards the end, and Duke was running out the clock, and we're trying to get the ball back. And they let the little fullback run for 60 yards and touchdown at the end of the game. I'm like, how does that happen? Like, Duke was just trying to get a yard, and they got 60 in a tutty. And you're like, what is going on? And that's just out of position. Somebody's out of position. It's just what we've been seeing all year. Like, Ronnie Royal's been playing safety. He's been boom or bust. Made a couple of great plays in the Wake game, the UVA game, and then just disappears one game. You're like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
They got to get better, but it's not there right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this game turns out to be, because, I mean, when we look at our offense, we've been very inconsistent with our play. Very much we go as our emotions go, really on both sides of the ball.
Not a lot.
We have not managed swings and momentum very well. We have not managed responding when the bad play happens very well.
Yeah.
It's basically, especially, you look at South Carolina, you look at Vanderbilt, and then the debacle with ODU. Any little bit of adversity, and we were folding. We'll see if that's changed with a interim head coach and a little bit more of a accountability, both off the field and on the field. We'll see if that type of mentality changes, a little bit more, toughness out of this team. But that's my concern, is that we've got to manage. I mean, because we know y'all's offense is going to score some points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The question is going to be, can we score enough to keep up? I mean, that's really what it's going to be. And I think the talent for us to do so is there. I just don't know if we are consistent enough and can manage those mentals and emotions enough.
That's been the issue.
To be consistent enough to score with what you guys are going to do. So,
Yep. That he hit it right there on all the points. To me, everything on this team is right here.
Yeah.
Everything is right in between the ears for this team, right in the mind, because, again, when bad things happen, they don't know how to stop it. And, again, we are now in the coaching search. Well, there's a lot of things going on, coaching search, potential GMs. But I'm going to pitch to you, because in a little while here, after you jump off, we'll go over our keys and our predictions. So for you, looking at this game, what's the biggest key for NC State, whether positive, negative, Hokie, or Wolfpack? What's the biggest key for you in this game as an NC State fan?
Don't be dumb. I mean, it's so cliche to say don't beat yourself, but they absolutely just gave that game away against Duke. I mean, if you look at all the projected win analysis, Stats of War always puts out, and you're like, God, that's so depressing to see us like outperform Duke at every level except for turnovers and just lose that game. And that is the biggest beef I think everybody has with Dave Dorn, is always one game where you're just like, man, what the hell happened there? And just, neglecting an in-state opponent. Sometimes it's Wake, sometimes it's Duke. And you're just like, how does that happen? You're like, how does this team that has looked so good offensively just look like a hot mess? We were talking about CJ Barely earlier. He had 3 picks in his game, but they weren't his fault, right? Like the one bounced off the receiver's hands. The other one was the no offsides call that he threw a Hail Mary play essentially and got picked. And then the other was in the game, whatever, trying to make a play. But it's just don't do dumb stuff and you'll be fine, right? I think you have all the advantages of the world with Virginia Tech being a hot mess, coming to Raleigh, a home game, offense is exciting. Like you have it all there. Don't be dumb and you win this game. And it shouldn't be a big issue. But it's NC State, and you never know if they're going to be dumb or not, man. You just don't know. Like it's just one of those things. I would love to be confident and say we're going to go out and kick your ass, but I've seen this before. I mean, I think we're the better team, but it doesn't mean that the gap is that big that anybody should feel comfortable, right? I mean, it's not. Yeah. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like, right? They're projecting to be some serious storms coming in. Yeah. And does that play a factor, right? It's there for us, but if we do what we did against Duke, which to Dave Dorn's credit, they don't usually do dumb stuff 2 weeks in a row, right? They usually don't beat themselves 2 weeks in a row. So I feel pretty good in saying that that's not going to happen, but you never know, right? You never know. And we're not good enough to cakewalk through any game, right? Especially not a Virginia Tech team. So, if NC State I sound like a coach press conference here. Just do what you're supposed to do. Like, do your job, right? Go out and do those
Take
things.
Care of your business and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel pretty good about that. But that's the truth, man. I really feel like if they just don't do dumb stuff, they will be fine. Lean on their guys that can carry you. Lean on Hollywood. Lean on Jolie. And, just do that, right? Sit back on defense. Make Virginia Tech have to do something on offense. Make Kyron Drones have to beat you with his arm, right? I mean, these are things that
sounds like
I think are very reasonable
against us. All right, real quick before we let you go, Evan, score prediction. If you do that, I don't know if you do that on your show every week. We do it here. Well, most weeks. Last couple weeks have been a little bit wonky, but a lot of shit going on. But what's your score prediction for this game?
Yeah, I typically don't pick scores because it just makes me look stupid, and I already have, I don't need any more help doing that. So I do feel like NC State's going to win. I do feel like they should cover. Caveat being, if the weather is a horrendous downpour, then take the under. That's my pick.
There we go.
Take the under.
Back in the under.
All right, so Evan, real quick, while everybody's out here, tell them where they can find you, social media, YouTube, all that fun stuff, so they can check out kind of your preview of what y'all think the Hokies are going to do.
Yeah, we'll record. Actually, we usually record Wednesday night. I don't know why we didn't tonight. We're a little bit informal, as you can tell. But yeah, Will and I, you can find us all at Red White Podcast on Twitter. He's at NC State Football on Twitter. RedWhiteNetwork.com is our website, and that all leads to the same places.
Perfect. Well, Evan, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time this evening to really answer pretty much every question we had about NC State going into this game.
I got a question.
And sometimes predicting the questions that are coming. So.
I know, I love it.
I got a question for you. Coaching search, man. Everybody wants to know about the coaching search. Who's on your list?
We're 10 weeks away from November, man.
I don't care.
Come on,
all right, Curtis, you've named names. Name names, man.
There's one name I want. Matt Campbell.
Matt Campbell. Okay.
Matt Campbell. We can double his salary. We can give him a hell of a lot more money for his coaching staff, and a hell of a lot better footprint to recruit in.
I like that. I hadn't heard that one. I mean, that makes sense.
I say that, and I'll throw Dan Mullen in there. It's going to be hard to get him out of where he's at, though. I feel like I think he's in a spot where he can exceed expectations.
They can't pay him next year. They can't pay him next year.
Dan Mullen's on my list. So y'all can't have him. Dan Mullen's on my list.
We got
the Will Wade of basketball. I want the Will Wade of football.
Y'all aren't getting rid of Dave Dorn this year.
I think he's retired. I think he's done. I think he's tired.
If he's done, then this might be a record ACC coaching turnover.
Hold on. Can I tell you, Evan, what you really need to happen? This will be good for y'all. Y'all need to go 10-2, and Wisconsin come down and hire him back. That's what you know.
Yes, that would be great. I think he retires before he goes anywhere. He just seems like a guy who's absolutely exhausted from this era in football. Like, he's close friends with freaking Bronco and Dave Clawson and some of these other guys who have all stepped down. Like, they don't need to do it anymore. And I don't think he would go anywhere. I think he would retire before he leaves.
Okay.
And speculation that he was going to retire last year. With it. Yeah, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
He's like, Curtis, shut up. I will jump through this thing and choke you. All good, man. Well, but we don't know. The whole thing is with Tech, we're going to talk about it in a little while here. It's already been structured that there will no longer be an AD over football. There will be a general manager over football, which is pretty much everybody's going to. So, you heard Bruce Arians say stuff on McAfee the other day. We don't know. And a lot of our stuff is probably going to get answered, and part of them is going to get answered next. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Somebody help me out here. Tuesday? 30th, our BOV unveils their plan, and then probably from there, you're going to probably start to see the dominoes fall in the AD and the GM, and then it's still going to take some time for the coach, because the honest truth is I don't think we're going to get a guy in retirement. I know our boy Andretti wants Saban, but I think it's going to be a sitting coach, and if it's a sitting coach, you can have everything in place. As we all know, it will be announced on Thanksgiving weekend when we're playing UVA.
Any concerns that it's going to be the absolute wildest coaching search cycle we've had in a long time?
No.
I think I would be worried if we were working with the same money that we've been working with the last two coaching hires. If we were going out there and saying we can pay you between $4 and $6 million, I'd be concerned. I think the number that we're going to be able to come out there with is at least going to be competitive, where our top three candidates should be willing to take that. I think the bigger thing is going to be how we end up structuring. What's the relationship with the general manager that we hire, and what sort of commitments can we make consistently on the recruiting front, on the money front, to make this job not just where the coach can go out there and coach and not have to worry about as much of the other pieces of the puzzle. they'll have somebody that they can lean on for those aspects.
Yep.
Very cool. It'll be interesting to watch. I mean, it's a great job, in my opinion. Like you should be able to pull a candidate. That's for sure.
Appreciate it, Evan. So again, y'all
That's
check
awesome.
out Evan out there because whenever they go live and put their, obviously you guys know your stuff, Evan. I can't wait to take a peek at yours in a couple days here to see what you got to say about the Hokies. So appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon, man.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Evan.
All right. So again, there's Evan from the Red White Podcast. Check him out. This is the second time we've had somebody with a podcast on this year, and I love when I can check my boxes to say, this is what I'm wondering about. This is who I want to know about, and don't worry. There's a reason we look at these guys. There's a reason that those names pop out. It's research. It's stuff like that. It's a lot of fun stuff. And having someone like
I
Evan,
I can go out there and look at tape for 3 or 4 hours, but I'm not Evan that's watching this team every week. So
every day reading the post,
getting the insight from folks that are eating and breathing and living this stuff is important for us, and I think it gives all the listeners out there some additional insight that they may not get, and you're not going to get it through a maroon and orange colored lens that you would if I'm presenting it out there. Just full honesty there. You're getting the full story from the folks that see it every day. So,
well, Brian, but the thing is about when it's through your lens is you're trying to find where is there an advantage for Tech in this situation. That's like it was wonderful. He mentioned the safety because you said, can we because you were talking before we jumped on tonight. The safeties struggle a little bit for them. Sometimes their linebackers don't feel right. Can we take advantage of that? And when he says it as an NC State fan, it's not just your eyes saying, I hope we can do that. It's like, that's been a problem. So, again, it's laid out there. And I can't wait to check that. I will be checking their podcast out this week just with the game Evan brought here. But, Brian, we've got to know the enemy. Let's tell the truth about Saturday. A win. A win. Again,
what is that?
What is that? We hadn't had one since Thanksgiving weekend last year. Yeah, Hokies take care of the Wofford Terriers by a final score of 38-6. What went well? We won, Brian. Finally.
We got a win. There's a nice little one in the left hand column there. Yeah, I mean that's really it. And I think we went out there and I don't think we looked great.
No,
but I think we never looked.
Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
There was one play that looked great. Kamari Copeland interception looked great. That was great.
Oh yeah. I mean, Kamari Copeland is showing that he is the real deal. He is legit. He is the guy we thought he is. He's not just a weight room warrior. He is going out there and making some noise on that defensive line and making plays in general. So I'm excited about that. I think the defensive line has definitely been the overall standout, especially I think the interior. Which is probably what we were a little more concerned about, but they've fleshed out and they've looked really good, really for the duration. I think we've got some question marks elsewhere on the defense, but those guys have showed up, and I'm excited to see if we can take some of that consistency and a little bit of that positive, It wasn't a pretty win, but it wasn't an ugly win. It was just a win. But if we can take some of that momentum into the NC State game,
it's true.
Because you get a little confidence with the win.
There's always confidence brewing. And I'll tell you the other thing that I felt like went well and into that confidence perspective was how many people played on offense. 8 different ball carriers, 11 players with receptions. Now, don't look at the couple of them. Don't look next to it. They're next to the name for the yards. A couple of them got negative or very little. But to me, it's that shift to basically say we're not going to stick with something we mentioned, the loyalty piece. If we think you can play, we'll go out and play. And this was a game to do that, right?
Well, it's a game you have to do that.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that we were going to be able to get to some of these guys earlier, particular at the quarterback position, but we didn't. And ultimately, but we did get a lot of guys involved in the backfield, in the wide receiver position. So we got to empty the chest a little bit. We probably didn't get to empty the chest as quick as we would have liked. But again, a win's a win, and I think there are some positives to take away from this game. I think there's positives from a fan base perspective. I was happy to see, as much as I was concerned about it, I was still happy to see folks show up for that game, for the stadium to look mostly filled. I know it wasn't a sellout, but there wasn't an embarrassment in the stands like I think a lot of people were expecting. And I think some of that is the fact that there was movement after ODU. Yeah. So there was still, it's like, okay, well, you're doing something. You're getting the ball rolling on what we need to do and where we need to go with this.
Yeah,
we'll come out here. We're going to stick with you and see this thing through. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of, not a ton of what went well, but I think enough went well where you maybe get a little bit of confidence going into NC State. I think that's important.
Yeah, because what went well, there's always what went bad, and we did not cover, because great teams cover. But I think the struggle with me, and again, the way I watched this game, had a birthday party going on, had baseball going on. I'm listening in the car. I'm following my game. I get back home. I watch a little bit of it here. I come back. I watch some condensed version. I watch some other version. I was all over watching this game. Made my head spin. But what pissed me off, and this is where I get so frustrated, and it seems like it's a lot with this team, is we get inside the 10 and we stall. And we stall. If we had not stalled the first drive of the game, where we go for it, which I'm fine with going for, that's fine. Points off the board. There's more stalls later in the game when I think John kicked it was like a 20-yard field goal.
Something like that, yeah.
20-yard field goals mean you are inside the 5. And that's just frustrating, because it's like, this is a FCS team. You should be able to push it into the end zone.
Yeah, and I think you talk about the stall drives, and it's not just something that reared its head in this game. That's been a problem for this team all year. It's been a problem for a few years. And when we look back, I mean, we talked about for all of Tyler Bowen's faults, the one thing he wasn't afraid to do was he understood that we weren't a good red zone team, and he'd dial up some funky shit to get us in the end zone when we got in the red area and the scoring area. It didn't always work. It was very boom or bust, but at least he wasn't afraid to dial it up and see what happens, because we have been very poor at completing drives. And it's not just the short yardage stuff. It's really everything. Like once the area to work with gets condensed, we do not do a good job of just imposing our will offensively.
Mentality. Talked about that last week too.
Toughness, man. Toughness.
Brian, I know this one. I wish Tally was here, but he's not. I know Tally texted me. You kind of agreed with it. There were times, though, still we looked sloppy. We looked undisciplined on both sides of the ball. And I don't think that's something that's just going to change. I think that's something we have to live with this year.
This year, yeah, absolutely. I think there are things you can do to improve as the year goes along, but it's going to be kind of incremental. It's not going to be night and day. You're not going to all of a sudden wake up and, oh, well, we're no longer sloppy and undisciplined. Like there's going to be, incremental steps that you can take throughout the year, whether it's better practice habits, whether there's something new implemented during practice that, puts an emphasis on, certain types of, whether it's penalties, whether it's false starts, things like that. Speaking for myself, I mean, false starts are They shouldn't happen, man. False starts to me are all mental. It's all mental, and if you aren't able to handle the mentality at this point in time, I don't know what to do with you.
It's true.
So,
yep. All right. Last thing, you already mentioned about the backup quarterbacks getting to play. Maybe that's just they're trying to build Kyron's confidence up because he is going to be the guy. I think Pop and Rangel should have got time in the third and the fourth. I think the game was well in hand, but at least they played because a lot of kids did not play. Now Montgomery was straight up with it, and he didn't mention which kids, which I am fine with, but he said some of the guys out were injury concerns. Other guys they are having the portal red shirt decisions with, and it was big names on here. Biggest being Caleb Woodson and Quentin Reddish, Sherrod Coble, Christian Ellis, Caleb Brown, Taki Heath, Johnny Garrett, Keelan Adams, Chance, Brody, Carter Stollard, and Sherrod Henderson. And to me, that's, and I'll say it's bad, but the statement that Montgomery made after was not bad. Because it wasn't just they're working through some things or some things are going on. No, he just straight up said, he didn't tell you who. Some people are hurt, and some people we're having talks with. But yeah, it sucks that it's happening.
Well, we know it was going to happen. And like as we said when we were talking with Evan just a little while ago, like we don't know what our actual starting lineup's going to look like this week because of those discussions, right? Like we know what the depth chart is, but we don't know how many of those players are going to be available. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that you expect with a coaching change. What you're concerned about is that do you have enough guys behind them to go out there and be competitive? Because I think that's what we want to be the rest of the year. We want to be competitive in these games. We want to show that there's fight in this team, that there's fight to put the best product out there that we can as we work through the remaining games on this schedule. I think the expectations for anything, even a bowl, are really out the window at this point. It's really about just going out there and being competitive week in, week out, and let the chips fall where they may.
And I'll make this say, if we make a bowl, first of all, Philip Montgomery is not going to be the head coach unless he literally wins
out
9 + 1 + 13 in a row. That's the only way he becomes head coach. But if he gets the team to a bowl, there is going to be a G5 school, maybe even a lower level P5 school, P4 school. I think he gets a call if we make a bowl, but I'm not foreseeing that. I don't feel like that's happening this year. Let's go real quick, Brian. Anything that you weren't prepared for when you started watching the game, or I can't remember if you were watching live. No, you were on travel, so you had to watch the recorded version. Anything when you started seeing like, interesting?
I was surprised that we didn't take more calculated risk with the football in the passing game. Okay. There were a lot of taking what we were given, and I get that they're making sure that they're not getting beat deep. I get that, but at the same time, you got to work the intermediate area. You got to be able to push the ball downfield. I felt like there was a lot of checkdowns, particularly to running backs. A lot of running backs involved in the offense, which isn't a bad thing, but I felt like there was yards on the field that we surrendered because, when we look at the way this offense is running right now, and it has run under Kyron, is that there are periods where Kyron is maybe a little too risk averse. And then when he feels like he needs to press, he presses and does too much and takes too many risks with the football. And we haven't really been able to find that happy medium where those risks are calculated, those risks are within the framework of the offense, but they're still good plays to make because as long as you're accurate with the football, it's a safe throw to make as long as you put it on the right spot of the receiver.
Well, speaking of that, something, and this came from Shelton. Shelton messaged this to us, and he couldn't make the show, but he said mention this. He did make some good RPO throws. He was accurate with the checkdowns. He gave just about on most of his check down throws, he gave everybody an opportunity to get upfield, especially PJ Prelo, a couple times. But the question is, can he do that as we get to a higher level? And as much as Evan talked about, their struggles, it is a better team in NC State. So with that, but I'll tell you something I noticed, Brian, and I asked you to look at it. There were a little bit of wrinkles, a little bit of different formations, a little bit of different the way the wide receivers were lined up, which we had not seen in the first 3 weeks. Now, I don't know if that was because it was Wofford or is that because the head coach is now the offensive coordinator. But I did notice that. And I don't know what that means. That could just be something they've been working towards, right? I mean, you used to mention there used to be plays you guys would have, and you'd work on it for like a month and then finally pull it in a game.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have these plays that either are you're kind of setting up for a particular defense that you see on your schedule. It could be that. It could be you want to add in some new wrinkles as you move throughout the year because you want to give different teams different things to see on film. You want to have a little something up your sleeve that every team you're playing hasn't seen. So you're usually going to have one play or one formation or running the same plays out of a couple different formations or with different motion. You're going to see those things get implemented as the season goes along, just to give different looks and make sure that folks aren't able to telegraph what you're trying to do just because they've watched the film. So I mean, Wofford's a good way to put some of that out there, because you can kind of run a test run of some of these new things without as much pressure on you to execute. And so seeing some of those play out okay, I think that's a good thing. Obviously now they're on film, so NC State gets to watch that, but hopefully we got a couple new things up our sleeve that Montgomery's going to pull out, and we can take advantage of that porous defense down there in Raleigh.
Yep. So again, we will see that. Brian, let's do this because I don't know if Tally's going to jump on or not. What's your key Saturday? Yeah, it was a good seeing Gabe out there. It'd been about a year.
He took a good angle, got a good chase down tackle there. I like seeing him getting some action in there. That was really good. Really happy for that kid. Regardless of what happens, after the end of this season, good to see him getting out there and doing his thing, man.
100%.
Keys, man. You're gonna have to score points. This isn't gonna be a team that's gonna go out there and like a South Carolina and put up a low 20 number. I think this team is gonna hit 30 against our defense, so we're gonna have to put up some points.
All right, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think we can completely stop Hollywood Smothers. It's limit the big ones though. They're really good 10 to 20. If you tell me the biggest one he got all night was in that range, I feel better about our chances. Especially you start getting to the 20 to 30 to 30 to 40 and more than 40s. Those are just killer. So that's my thing. Limit the big plays. Unfortunately, unless they told you, they did not tell me what they thought. So I'm going to leave Shelton and Tally's predictions off board. I'll go with mine first. I do think we compete better in this game, but with the way the offense is played for most of this season and the way NC State's offense has played most of the season, I just can't see us keeping up. I think they jump on us early. I think we lose by 12. I say 35-23. And it all depends on the mentality of this team. Could we stand there and trade blows until the fourth quarter and then maybe they get a couple late scores? Yeah. Could they just jump out on us early out of ODU? Yeah. But I cannot see a win in this game.
Yeah, I don't see a win either. I'm in the same ballpark as you. Give me 36-27.
All right.
I think we'll score some points. I don't think that's a very good defense. I don't think they're significantly better than even what we saw with Wofford. Based on statistics, obviously talent is there. Talent is much better, but I think Wofford is a more sound defense, and definitely we're playing not to get beat on the big plays against us. Whereas I think we'll be able to hit some big plays on NC State with that inconsistency. We'll just have to see if we can have enough compared to what they'll be able to get on our end.
100%. All right, well, Brian, let's get to some of the news and notes before we jump into big screeners here. And it all started Saturday morning. I don't know how you heard it or when you heard it, but we got some of the news we kind of been expecting. And to Virginia Tech's luck, it was on College Game Day. And that's where Pete Thamel basically said there was an additional $50 million coming down Virginia Tech's in the athletic funds. It's stuff we had felt is going to be coming down based on the WIT meeting back in August and everything transpiring. But then lo and behold, a few days later, everything, shout out Doug Bowman, Andy Bitter, Colby, everybody who was getting that stuff. And I know you've got it up here, Brian, but you heard it Saturday, you see it a few days later, you know the BOV meeting's a week from yesterday. What was just your feelings just looking at all that information?
I mean, you love seeing the commitment. I'm hoping that we're able to see all of this through, but seeing the commitment and seeing we are dedicating and focusing on reaching 200 plus million over the next 4 fiscal years. Starting with fiscal year 27 will be above 200 million. Getting to 190 in fiscal year 26. This is a big deal. It puts you in a very competitive space, not only in the ACC, but looking at a national product. It puts you in a very competitive space in that front as well. In a space we really haven't been for a very long time.
15 years?
15 years, and really in terms of being this competitive, probably going back to when Beamer had flirtations with UNC and the allocations that he got as a result of that is probably the last time we would be this competitive nationally on a financial front. So that's exciting. As we said earlier, I think we've got the money now where we can go out and get a coach, both from a financial commitment and from a structural commitment, that won't turn us down like we had a bunch in the last go round. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I think when you look at the numbers and you look at kind of where things are heading, it's the exciting time. And speaking of exciting times, Jonathan Talley, what's going on, brother?
Oh my God, you're rubbing his head.
What is going on?
What you learned tonight?
Nothing yet. I didn't learn a damn thing.
Oh my God.
I didn't learn nothing. Do we got a coach yet? Or
no.
AD hired? We got an AD
Hey,
fired?
Bruce Arians went on McAfee though, so
I seen a little bit about that.
We're just talking about the money right now, Tally. That's what we didn't got to. We didn't talk about the money and how much basically Brian was just going how excited he was about we're finally being for real about this. I know Jim, you put in there. Jim said it should have been done 5 years ago. I agreed.
At least.
But, what did you feel when you start seeing the numbers and it's like 190 million, over 200 million? Knowing when you start getting into that, you're up there in the upper echelon of the ACC and probably top 25 in the
At least
country.
top 25, yeah.
I know. It's just like, when you first start hearing about it, because, I ain't saying we insiders, but we may hear about some stuff a little bit more than it's put out or before it's put out. So when you start hearing about it, it's not like you doubt the people that's talking with you, but at the same time, it's like I've been down this road so many times with Virginia Tech. I don't believe it until it's like pen on paper. You know what I'm saying? I see something concrete. And then once you start seeing some things really start getting into motion, it's like, where has it been? Like, what are we waiting for? Why we should have been doing this. Like, we just never capitalized on our moments. You know what I'm saying? Never capitalized on our moments. So don't want to seem ungrateful, but it's like, thank you for finally doing something. And I said, even when Frank left, because I was in the, maybe the majority, or excuse me, minority, when Frank was here, just like, man, we got to get a new coach. We got to go a new route. We got to try something. Then Fuente came, then Pry came. And it's like, whenever a legend leaves, sometimes it takes a while to get it right. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking with how bad things have been and how we are still perceived, they finally said, okay, if this is going to work, if we're going to capitalize on the gains, we got to put some money into this, and we got to take it serious. So I don't want to hear about no coordinator hires. I don't want to hear about no secondary. Like, we got to swing for the fence and, maybe get a triple. We can't hit no single or no double, though. We gotta at least get a triple with it. So,
well, hold on. You joining us late. I just got to put this in here just for you, for my man Andretti.
oh Lord, we don't. You know what? Hey, people been talking about Saban. I done seen his name pop up
Everywhere.
You got to understand, though, man. Like, he had the job. He was at Alabama. Why would he just go back to college football to coach? Like, he's done everything. He is the greatest. Sure. So even if he has to win a championship wherever he goes. You know, I don't know if Nick wants to do it. I think he left because of NIL. So I don't think that he wants to have to deal with that. And I don't blame him. So you got to go with the new wave, and you got to find somebody who is going to be able to coach, number one, but is going to be able to, get the most out of Blacksburg too.
Yep. 100%. The one thing I watched it, I didn't watch the whole Bruce Arians interview, but I watched that clip that has popped up seemingly 100 million times in the last day. And Bruce talking about, we're getting a general manager, then we're going to find the coach. Well, that's first of all, finally, that's the right way to do it. You got the person who's going to be running the money side of it has got to be the person who hires, because they've got to be able to work hand in hand. But also this, I think the way we're setting it up, you mentioned coach. I think it's going to take a lot of that pressure off of a head coach to be, you got to be the NIL guy. You got to know how much money they're going to get. You got to know their value. You got to know all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And having that, I don't think we're going to get Nick Saban. I'll say that right now. A few weeks from now, we'll let y'all come on and y'all speak your piece. We'll keep a tally of how many y'all think Saban's coming. But I think that might be one of the biggest sell points if we set this up right. Listen, are you going to have to go shake hands, kiss babies, all that stuff? Are you going to have to go into high schools and meet kids and make sure they're okay and meet families? Absolutely. That's your job as a head coach. Are you going to have to go over the top with that shit that you've had to do for the last 40 years of college football?
Right.
In this era, maybe not. In this era, if you got the structure right, listen, you're going to have to close some deals. You're going to have to shake some hands. But your primary job is going to go coach. Go coach this team to the best possible outcomes.
Yep.
Yeah, and in the new age, talk about money or talk about this, like it really doesn't take as long as it used to build a team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or just, again, I talked about Florida State and what they did, a couple of years ago, and I was like, we ain't Florida State, but like the similar trajectory could have been, okay, they lose this and they did this, and then all of a sudden, boom, they get these guys in, they have a great year. Florida State's going to be one of those teams. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of who did we get in the portal? Because recruiting don't even matter no more. Like, high school recruiting don't even matter no more, because it's so, it still does matter. I don't want to say that, but not as much, because when a coach comes in, it's like, it don't really matter what his high school recruiting class is. He can go out and get 40 players and field a team to be, go from 2-11, Florida State last year, to undefeated and top 10 this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do that. Somebody just put in the chat, look at Texas Tech. They dropped so much money, and it don't work that way all the time. But at a school like Virginia Tech, if you go get the athletes and you have somebody we had somebody that wasn't coaching them, and we still was close to winning games. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can go get the talent and where we play it'll be a easier path than some of the other places. You know, the SEC schools, you know, the Big Ten schools, things like that. So I'm just excited that they are at least looking at it like this is the cash cow. We got to protect it. So
They're looking at it as a business now. It
you
is
have to.
It effectively is no longer an athletic program for a school. It is a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
And a statement about the school, the region, and the state in general says a lot, because I think they know, and I think this is probably politicians. I mean, you got Aaron Rouse doing stuff. You got Youngkin, who's a big sports fan up here. They understand right now the two biggest universities in the state of Virginia, sports-wise, they're not in the two big conferences. And what does that do? Everyone's like, oh, that's nothing. It's like, it's billions of dollars. It's revenue. It's eyes on your state.
Yep.
It's a whole different ball game now. And I'm not saying we're going to get in the Big Ten or the SEC, but if you're seeing this kind of stuff done and the school's saying we're willing to fund money, our donors are willing to give money, and if the state's willing to back support, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, people look at things like, you know, wins and losses, you know, schools and things like that. But if you really like get down to the nuts and bolts of like how the workings of the communities go, a place like freaking Blacksburg, Tuscaloosa, you know what I'm saying? Tuscaloosa ain't got nothing there. You know, Auburn ain't got nothing there. Like, for real, if that school is not having games and people coming in for game day, people staying in hotels, people renting cars, people Airbnb, and people going to restaurants, like when Blacksburg is when Virginia Tech's not good, Blacksburg is going to take a hit. You may still have some stuff coming through there, but it's going to take a hit when Blacksburg is jumping, when Virginia Tech is at least competitive like that. You stand to make a lot of money in that area, and then that helps not just Blacksburg but the surrounding areas. Because I've been to plenty of games, and I stayed in Bristol before. I've stayed in Christiansburg. I've stayed in Withville. I've stayed in places around Blacksburg because I couldn't get to Blacksburg. So it's a bigger thing than just a football team winning and losing games. So the people that's up top now start looking at things going, well, how much money how much money did we lose because we're doing this? And how much money how much money
did somebody finally say you've lost $300 million?
You lost exactly.
You lost all this money.
You've had a down program. So you've had, you know, and then it may the stadium's filled up, but still, are those people traveling? Are they bringing, you know what I'm saying? Is it overly full? Are we really booking up? Just because you say you got this many people in the stadium, are you booking up hotels? Is restaurants being booked? Is people getting mad and leaving, going home? It's more to it than just that. So I tell you what, whatever that, I think it's the Hard Rock that's in Bristol. Well, if we winning, I'm going in there spending money. If we losing, I don't want to spend nothing. I want to go to the casino and spend money when we're doing good.
Love it.
I'm excited, but you know, when you're not, it just changes the trajectory of what people are going to do. So I think the people up top finally kind of understand that, or they understood it because they was making money. But when it starts hitting their pockets, they like, hold on for a minute, let's figure out what's going on. So
there you go. Brian, anything else you want to add before we jump to the next piece here?
Yeah. So I'll just talk about it a little bit. So, I mean, one of the things that we talked about was kind of the funding breakdown. You know, there's going to be institutional support. There's going to be student fee increases. We got bridge funding, which means we are taking out some loans. And then we got philanthropy, which has always been a part of athletics fundraising, right? So we talked about, and what it sounds like is that when we talk about the philanthropy part of it, it sounds like year one, that fiscal year 26 already has been either collected or is already aligned and spoken for. Obviously, we're going to need to restructure some of the things in Hokie Club to make sure that we're hitting those marks for 27 through 29 to keep that funding allocation rising. And then we look at student fees. I know people hate student fees, but at this point, everybody's got student fees. I mean, it sucks. It's a necessary evil, but it's one of those things that it looks like, you go from, you're not really pulling any revenue from student fees right now.
Lowest, still the lowest, even after the additional funding.
Yeah, so it's
Lowest is
still,
still the
you're
lowest.
still putting yourself in a pretty good position relative to your competition in terms of not crippling your students. I mean, nobody likes, giving 18 to 22-year-olds additional debt. I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day, if you want to be competitive, that's going to be part of it.
Yep.
It's just where we are.
The other thing, Brian, you were talking about the philanthropy piece, and a lot of people are questioning, well, how are you going to do that?
A lot of people.
A
Name
lot
names.
of people. Well, people are asking. If you go on the Twitter timeline, there are a lot of people asking, how's this going
Say
to be
the
done?
name.
You say the name. You know who it is. You want to say the name, Charlie?
I ain't saying no name.
I ain't saying a name. But there's people saying things. And here's the thing when you have a vision and a plan like this, and you see that philanthropy line, well, that's donors. Well, how do we know this money's going to come in? Well, I got a feeling when they gut the Hokie Club in about, I'm going to say about a month. We'll give it a month. They're going to gut Hokie Club and get a whole new bunch of people working that. That's one way. But my second is there are some big donors. There are some big people who give a shit about sports and give a lot of money. I've got a feeling that the discussions have been with them. All right, let's say it's 30. I can't remember the exact numbers. If you remember the exact numbers for 27, 28, or 29 philanthropy, lay it on me. But I got a feeling that they've discussed with them, we are going to try to get as much as we can from everyone for this. If we can't, will you, y'all know who I'm talking about, some of those people who are really rich, have a lot of money, can you backfill if we're short? And I got a feeling a lot of those folks have said, yeah, if you're going to do all this other stuff, if you're going to give us more money here, if you're going to raise student fees to give more money, if you're going to do this to give more money, you know what? We're willing to make that investment.
Yeah. But I'll say this. This is where the GM and coach hire become very important.
100%.
Because you have to have, number one, the structure out the gate for them to be confident to make the initial investment. Number two, at some point in fiscal year 28 and 29, if you're not winning fucking games, that extra at the end, that, hey, I'll fill in the gap, that might be a little harder to get if you're not seeing return on that investment.
That means people got to get fired again. It's going to be a brutal cycle of it. It's going to be a brutal cycle.
I'm just saying, that's why the GM and the coach hire are right. You got to get that right. You got to get the right people in the gate. You got to get the right players in here, and you got to win games in about by year 3, or at least you got to be seeing that upward trajectory that we never really saw under Brent Pry. Yep. You got to see it. You got to see return on investment, and then the money will keep coming in. If you are seeing results, the money will come in a whole lot easier than seeing the same shit happen despite having 50 million more in the coffers.
Andretti, you got to decide who you want. You want Irvin or you want Stamen?
He said both of them.
Both of them.
He ain't got to worry about it. They gonna have somebody in a Hokie jacket for him. Curtis knows who it is.
Well, y'all know my opinion. I stated it earlier, and I'll sit on that. And again, give it a couple weeks. We're gonna let y'all come on here and give y'all's opinions on it. All right, let's flip real quick. Announced earlier this week, the ACC officially is going to a 9-game schedule with an odd number of teams. I don't know how they're going to figure that out. That ain't my job. Also,
some teams are going to be playing 8 every year and then going, we already have the weird shit that happened with NC State and Virginia this year. I mean, we're going to have probably more of that, I would imagine, is going to be some of what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then, well, on top of that, you get 9, and either you're going to play one more Power 4 team, or if you're doing the 8, you get 2 more Power 4 teams. So, is it next year? Are we losing JMU or are we dropping ODU? Because they're going to give the new coach VMI as an offering of sacrifice just real quick. Who's going bye-bye?
I don't know, man. I feel like it depends on who the coach is. Because depending on who the coach is, I mean, they may want to get rid of VMI. Okay.
And so play ODU and JMU?
Yeah. I mean, because if you get rid of ODU, it might seem like you're ducking them. They done whooped your ass all these years. So depending on who the coach is, if they come in and they have ties to the program, they'll be like, Yeah, we want to play them again.
All right.
I mean, at this point, ODU. I mean that it's their Super Bowl every year. So and they've done damn near 500 in it. So you can't really fault them for wanting to play that game.
Right.
And at this point, again, we talked about it before the season started. It's like, well, we finally won enough where we could push out on going to Norfolk.
Yeah.
But now we went and got our ass kicked this year, so it's going to be a whole lot harder to push out of the series altogether when you just got your ass kicked at your own place.
Beat down.
True.
It's going to be interesting to see how that series shakes out.
It's going to be good for the I guess the GM to figure out.
Yeah. GM's going to have some things to think about and talk about and weigh some options and decide whether, saving face and playing this thing out and, actually getting some wins in it is worth the trade-off of not getting a, higher level, P4 competition.
If Beamer comes in, he's going to want to play ODU. If somebody says Signetti, if he comes in, he's going to play JMU.
Yeah.
Whoever the JMU coach is now that people's been throwing his name out, probably going to play JMU.
Hey, I want Signetti too, but I don't know how feasible that is at this point. He's at a spot where he's getting Big Ten money with, he's exceeding his expectations by a big margin early on. And I know once you set expectations, things shift. But right now, he can stay at Indiana and win 8 games every year and punch up every 1 or 2 years for a half decade or a decade and then ride off into the sunset.
100%.
I know we ain't going to talk about coaches too much, but I do want to say this because I don't have no opinion on it. And I know we haven't said nothing. Somebody put the name out, Pat Fitzgerald. And I didn't even think about it.
He got all the shit cleared up.
I didn't think about what he done. I didn't think about all the stuff that he went through afterwards. I'm gonna ask Curtis because I know you know about this. What do you think about Pat Fitzgerald?
All right. Well, first of all, he got exonerated of all the shit. So first of all, we mentioned
no car wash.
There was no car wash Dickens.
No car wash Dickens on his watch, right? Like I said, I ain't really did a whole bunch of studying on it.
Oh,
so he wasn't the one. He wasn't the one.
It was not him. He got exonerated. It was
play
going on, but he did not know about it, and he
had no noodle play going on. Curtis, that's what you're saying.
Noodle play going on. I think a guy like Fitzgerald, if he becomes the coach, you're not upset because you look at his track record at Northwestern, and I mean, winning 10 games 1, 2, 3 times, winning 9 games like 3 times in his career there. And they don't give a shit about it. He also, mentality-wise, undersized linebacker. I mean, he fits what you want. That he fits blue-collar mentality. If you told me Thanksgiving Day, Tally, we all sitting around watching the game, and you say, Curtis, Brian, call me now. I just heard something. And you told me it was him, I wouldn't be upset.
Right. Brian, what you got to say?
I'm fine with Pat.
We could do better.
I think we could do better. I think we could do a whole lot worse too.
1,000% we could do worse.
And I told y'all I wasn't gonna get y'all in no coaching talk, so I'm not trying to go that route just yet. But I do want to just start because I know people.
I think I'd have Dan Mullen a little bit ahead of Pat, but
I was just about to say
behind him.
Yeah.
What we gotta understand is, there's gonna be some extra money, but we're still in a certain position. There's some coaches that are out of the league that we're not gonna get. There's some coaches that are beneath where we are that we don't need to look at getting.
You damn
That's
right.
just my opinion. But when you start thinking, because somebody said Fitzgerald, and I was like, oh. But then I started thinking, I was like, that's probably about the coach range that will go. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody like a Dan Mullen. And then you have so many people that say, oh, these coaches can't, or he didn't do this. you got to go look at some stuff for yourself. Because when you start looking at somebody like a Dan Mullen, he didn't have a great time at Florida. He didn't recruit bad, like people said. But
didn't have a great. Hold on, no. That's where the bullshit comes in with Dan Mullen in Florida. So everybody keeps saying he didn't have a good record at Florida, and I'm gonna put Jason's up real quick so I can say this.
I didn't even want to start talking because I knew names were gonna come up.
That's it. I'm gonna end us on the Dan Mullen talk, and we're gonna keep moving. Because again, I want to have a night where we have this conversation for 2 hours. But Dan Mullen at Florida, 10 wins, 10 what? Oh, Jesus Christ, Jim. 10 wins his first year, 11 wins his second year. COVID year, he went 8-4. He went 5-6 in 2021 and got fired. He went to the Peach Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl in the course of 3 years, and he got fired. People didn't like him at Florida. Because you know what? He won. He was probably an asshole to somebody, and they were like, well, fuck you. We'll fire you. Where have they been since 2022? So there we go. So 2 more things to hit. Spring portal is gone. Spring portal's gone. It's going to be one time a year. The time is not set. I think it's going to land like February 1.
So let me ask this question. And I mean, I know we had talked about this before.
You triggered me, Jason. You triggered me.
How is that landing in terms of transferring in for spring ball? With the window being after drop dates for spring semester.
Right. That's going to be crazy, right? Like, what do you do?
Because I mean, I know that the original talk was like backing up the window, expanding the window, but keeping it within the spring semester, but before the start of the spring semester. I just don't know what that's going to look like.
No idea.
And maybe some people with more knowledge than I do, have better ideas of what that's going to look like. But
because you can't have it pushed, you can't push it. I mean, it's not going to be there. And then if you don't get them in, then they can't participate. So you're behind.
Yep.
It's like when does that portal work? I don't know.
Well, and then I mean,
this year national championship is January 19th, January 20th.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the after national championship game.
Through mid-February?
No, or the 21st. Last day you can go in the portal will be like the 21st.
Okay.
Something like that. They basically give that week because most schools, your ad drop's probably going to be around the last of January. And again, there's going to be no perfect solution. It's going to be pissed off people, and maybe they start looking at incremental rules that you can take a 6-hour online course class and be enrolled in the school and come here and play football. Got to think like that. One last piece before we get to big screeners. The Wisconsin-Virginia Tech game has been moved from Lane Stadium to Charlotte. Tally is extremely happy because it cuts his drive time significantly from us.
I'll take that.
A lot more hotels in Charlotte, too.
How old will we be in whenever that game's played? 50?
I'll just turn 48.
Hey, man. We might be flying to them then, Curtis. Cars might be flying by then.
Cars might be flying.
A long way away, dog.
But it's in Charlotte, and apparently the money's good. I was joking with Brian earlier. I hate neutral site games. I really do. But if you're telling me you get an extra $7-8 million for playing there, man, that is a good payment for a defensive and offensive lineman.
Sign me up for a couple of them.
Exactly. Screw it.
Yeah.
All right, Tally, real quick, before we flip over to big screeners, your prediction for the game and your key for the Hokies with the NC State game. You missed a really good – Evan was nailing it tonight from the podcast.
Yeah, I'm about to go back and listen to it. I'm going to say, man, just because of where we are, I'd probably say they, somewhere about 35-21, somewhere around that range, North Carolina State. Just because I don't think we have enough. I don't know who's playing. I don't know who's going to sit out. I don't know who's ready to transfer. And I don't know what our offense is going to do. So 35-21, somewhere around there. I know that defense ain't good. That's the only reason I'm saying we scored 21. So I think we can score some, but I don't know that we stopped them. So keys for us is going to be, for me, it's just where we are. I mean, just get better than we've been in the losses. If it's going to be a loss, make it getting better, getting more disciplined. We were still undisciplined last game, so get a little bit more discipline, and then move into the next games and try to steal a couple of these games, because we still can win some games. I mean, you just can't win one game. You know what I'm saying? You got to find some games on the schedule and win them. No matter who's walking out there, because a lot of these kids are getting paid. A lot of these kids are trying to get film. A lot of these kids, it's their last hurrah. So it's still a lot to play for those young men and coaches too. Everybody's auditioning. So if you're going to audition, put a good audition up. You know what I'm saying? So steal some games, man. Go steal some games. I don't really think it's a key. My key is just to be more disciplined. But I just feel like we got nothing to lose. The coach is gone. The players are looking for where they want to be and what they want to do. And who's coming in. It's a lot riding on that to what nucleus we look like we have next year. So, man, go create a name for yourself. If you get the opportunity to get in and make a big play, go do it.
Go do it. Awesome. All righty. Brian went to – I didn't even notice your tag tonight. Oh, God. All right, Brian, let's talk about it, because I mentioned this earlier in the chat. Tyler, I can't remember if you saw it. This is one of the best sports weekends of the year. So, first of all, I love golf. Ryder Cup's this weekend. Ryder Cup's the best event in golf, bar none. USA versus Europe. Usually there's going to be people getting in each other's grills. It's the one time you get close to seeing a fist fight on a golf course. Secondly, MLB is coming down to the wire. There's like 3 to 4 races still going on that will be decided Friday, Saturday, Sunday. NFL's going on. We all love it. How's Cam Ward treating you, Tally? Don't answer that, because you're going to throw things at me. He ain't doing bad, though. And
Cam Ward ain't doing bad.
Daniel Jones season.
Oh, God. Y'all done fix Daniel Jones up there in Indy. It's crazy. But then when y'all started looking through the slate this weekend, was it just like, jeezy peasy? Like, it's just good. We only picked 4 games, and there's probably 5 more we could have picked easily out there this weekend.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those weeks where it's like there's not a ton of like top 25 versus top 25, but there's like a dozen really good matchups, even if it's not those marquee games.
Yeah, and you got some big marquees too. So, Brian, you got the screen up. Me and Brian have had some 0-4 weeks that kicked our ass. Tally rallied back last week, 2 games under 500. Bet with Sheldon, you won't lose money. So where are we going? Hey, Nate, I'm leading it off. It is going to be 3:30. I will be getting back in from baseball to watch LSU, Ole Miss, and got Ole Miss getting – hold on, Brian. I think you got this one messed up.
Oh,
with
shit.
the line. Hold on. It's all right. It's all right.
No, Ole Miss was getting 1.5.
Yeah, Ole Miss is given 1.5, I thought.
I'm giving 1.5, excuse me.
Hang on.
It's all right. That's why I pulled it up here.
Right.
Yeah, Ole Miss is giving Ole Miss minus 1.5.
Yeah.
It's at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's just waiting for Billy Napier to get fired, because everybody knows Lane wants the Florida job. Bigger budget, better state to recruit from, a lot more expectations. But for me, I think LSU is just a more well-rounded team. Only laying 1.5. I think they win by a touchdown. Shelton took
LSU.
LSU. Tally?
Old piss, baby.
Old piss.
Old
I'm gonna
piss.
ride with LSU as well. I think I think they're gonna get this thing done. I liked it with the plus 3.5. So at least The minus 1.5 for sure. But
It's better now. Like definitely LSU. All right.
Yeah.
Tally taking a 1.5. We are laying it. All right. Who's next?
Oh, that's me. Alabama
That's
and
you.
Georgia, boy. That's the one everybody's talking about down here. So
I
we're
got
gonna
that
see
line
who,
right too.
yeah, we're gonna
Got
see
that
who's
line
good and who's not. I guess if Alabama loses, they go down 2 games, or they got 2 losses for the season, and they'll be getting ready to get rid of their coach, depending on how bad they lose. But I don't think we're gonna see that. I think Alabama's gonna take this game. So I
Ooh,
picked Bama.
upset between the hedges. Damn.
I'm not taking Alabama. I think Georgia's going to win by at least a touchdown here. I don't think this Alabama team is it. I don't necessarily think that this Georgia team is world beaters, but I think they're better than where Alabama is at this point. So give me Georgia.
Yeah, I'm with you. Alabama played one team with talent similar to theirs. They looked lost on the field. They got smacked by the Seminoles, and I just it's 3.5 line. That's not enough. So I'm gonna take Georgia as well. And Shelton is going
He's riding with us.
with us. Tally on an island twice. And by the way, if Kellen DeBoer were to get fired, I would be willing to definitely let him get hired because I think that kid can coach. That man can coach. Just make crazy down there where Tally lives.
A different level, man.
True.
It's a whole different beast for sure.
What's next? Oh, Shelton. Not here, but this is a sneaky good game on Friday night at 9 o'clock. I don't know if I can stay up and watch the end of it. I'll try maybe. TCU going to the Valley of the Sun to play the Sun Devils. 2.5 point favorite here. Shelton says, "Go
Roll the
Devils."
Sun Devils. Tally.
For me, who did I pick on this? Hold on 1 second here. For me, I took TCU. Don't really know why. I just seen how the coach had to look in his eyes when he beat Bill Belichick down to the ground. So I said, hey, I'm going to pick them.
Yeah, I'm with you. And for the same reason, he put his foot on Belichick's throat and went for the jugular there, man. So I think that's going to do enough to take care of the Sun Devils.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. TCU, not enough. They beat SMU, who's supposed to be a pretty good team this year, and they curb stomped the Tar Heels. So that is a small line to a team I already like to win. Give me TCU. Oh, Brian.
Oh, hell. What the hell happened here? Okay, well, y'all know what we're doing now.
Florida State.
Florida State heading to Charlottesville. 6.5 point dogs here. As you can see, I've got Florida State in this one. I don't even like. It's kind of funny the dialogue around can UVA fill their stadium for a high profile game like this. I don't know if they can, and I definitely don't think they can beat Florida State there. So I've got the Seminoles.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, go ahead, Curtis.
I'm just saying same. Go ahead.
Yes. So for me, I think Florida State's got a good team this year. I'm not saying they're gonna, go to the playoffs. I don't know what happens, but I'm not saying Virginia's bad by no means. I haven't watched them enough to know that, but I just think Florida State's on a little bit different level. So I think they're probably gonna win this game by about 2 touchdowns if I had to look at it. But I'll be watching it. It's Friday night. I'll take a look. Well, I say I'll be watching it. My kid's homecoming at the high school, so I'll be paying attention to it. I don't know how much of it I get to watch.
I think the thing for me is that Virginia's got an offense, FSU's got a team.
Yeah, that's it. FSU's got a team and, already played a significantly more talented team in Alabama, beat them by 2 scores. They played nobodies and beat the dog piss out of East Texas A&M and Kent State. I mean, that's old school, 77-3 and 66-10. That's just beating the crap out of someone. And yes, it is. I got a neighbor behind me reminding me This is the 30th anniversary of UVA beating Florida State. But I just think Tally, just go with Tally said. Florida State's a well-rounded team. I think Virginia's probably going to score in the 20s, but I think Florida State's going to score in the high 30s, low 40s. I don't think Virginia's going to stop them. Straight up. So there it is. There it is. Oh, man. Tally, I'm glad you get to come on for the last 35 minutes.
Man, I have to pop on him, make sure Andretti acted right. You know what I'm saying? He was a little agitated in the last couple of weeks.
He's out of control.
He was fired up,
beautiful.
man.
He was fired up. One piece of news, if y'all didn't see this hit about 5 hours ago. Everybody saw Kevin Kiltner took the Wofford job.
Yep.
But there is a Boise State assistant coach. I had the tweet up and everything. Somebody put it in here. God, I hate Twitter sometimes. You find exactly what you need, and then it just goes away. Trying to get the guys. I know. It refreshed on me because I'm like, oh, there's a tweet right there. Let me just hit it. Yeah. Shout out David Cunningham for the repost. Former Boise State assistant coach David Emotes will be named assistant coach at Virginia Tech. Pretty big move for him. He had been at Boise since 2017 in a variety of roles. Boise has made the tournament for definitely a few years, so that role is filled. Basketball season is starting soon, so we'll see how that goes. Anything else, boys, before we end the night?
If anybody
I'm just saying we got some
Brett
money.
Pry,
I'm ready to get a GM. Give me a GM.
If anybody sees Brett Pry at the bar, tell him to quit drinking beer.
Tell him quit drinking. Oh man. And with that right there, we'll wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg and Moments on the Moor in Lexington. I am Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Visit our website, Boundary Corner VT, to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, follow us wherever you can follow us: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any of your favorite podcast sources, including Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. As always, Jason Long, our buddy down in Roanoke, plays us in, plays us out. Check jasonlongmusic.com, where you can see where he is playing live down there, along with all the links to his Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook pages. We appreciate y'all for listening. We're got one win. We're not going over this year. Let's go.
Hokies.
Hokies.